This girl has so much going on. The DUI charge is still pending, girl. What do you mean?
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of That Sounds Like a Podcast. I'm Audrey.
And I'm Jenna.
Ladies and gentlemen.
So this week we're just gonna jump right into what we're talking about because there's a lot that goes into this story. We're opening up the conversation about the troubles of childhood stardom and all the drama and the trauma that goes along with that. I first started getting interested in this when I saw a podcast by Allison Stoner. Remember the girl from Camp Rock, and she was in like Missy Elliott videos and stuff?
Yes, love her.
Same. She had a podcast a few years ago. I want to say like 2023, maybe 2022. It was called Dear Hollywood, and she talked about like all of the things that she went through trying to work her way up in the industry, as they call it. And she had a lot of other childhood stars' perspectives, and it was very interesting.
Drug addiction, psychiatric hospitalizations, decimated fortunes, sexual trauma, incarceration, suicide. Name something comparable to the pop culture phenomenon of child stardom.
That really opened my mind to a different perspective. It seems like it's been a thing since Hollywood even started, like the golden age of Hollywood, as they call it. This has always been a thing. The work conditions back then with people like Judy Garland and Shirley Temple and what they went through with the rise of social media and like tabloids and paparazzi and everything. When we were growing up, when we were really young, we had Lindsay Lohan, Britney Spears, and Amanda Bynes, which is what we're going to be talking about mainly today. We're going to start with her early life and then get into how she went from the literal face of Nickelodeon, blossoming, the most popular childhood star of her age, to what she is now. Don't really know the words to describe it because she's a lot. Let's just say she's a lot.
I've been really personally wanting to know this story myself because seeing what she looks like in recent pictures is like, girl, what is happening?
Starting with her early life, Amanda Bynes was born in Thousand Oaks, California on April 3rd, 1986. Her father was a dentist and her mother was a dental assistant. So it's what you would assume would be just a regular, pretty classic middle-class family, upper middle-class family.
A basic average girl, if you will.
A basic average girl. But she was a pretty outgoing kid, and her parents thought she had natural talent. So naturally, her dad really wanted her to get into acting and started pushing her to get into improv classes and things like that. And in a 2004 interview, Amanda's mother told People magazine that when Amanda was just 3 years old, she would play dress up, put on little skits, and try to get her brother and sister's attention. And then that's when they were like, okay, we're going to put this girl on the screen, on the stage. She has a talent. And just like normal, every little girl stuff she would do, but they saw something more in her. So in her early years, her father, Rick, started to act more like a manager than a father, which is already a red flag. We've seen this in countless stories of parents trying to manage their children and how that never really works out as planned. But he would write scripts for her to act out as practice. He helped her get auditions for commercials, and he even sent her to a comedy camp, which would later skyrocket her career, and it's how she was discovered.
Yes.
When Amanda was 7 years old, she got her first agent, and shortly after that, she got her first job, which was a commercial with Nestle's Bunch of Crunch. Iconic, honestly. So when she was 10 is when she got into that comedy camp that we were talking about. This is actually with Laugh Factory, which is one of the most famous comedy clubs in America. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that was really unique, like a really unique route for her to get famous, especially as a girl doing stand-up at like 7 years old.
I didn't know when I was a kid that she started off with comedy. Like, I just thought, I didn't really know what she started off with, but I know she was from shows, so I thought she just started with acting, not comedy.
All that and the Amanda Show were skit comedy shows, so it was kind of like stand-up, but it's like the closest you can get to stand-up, but with a script.
Yeah.
So that they basically crafted that whole idea around these kids that they were getting from the Laugh Factory. Because there's a few kids that got discovered the way she did, but there's like this stereotype around women in comedy and how they're not really that funny and women shouldn't do stand-up, blah, 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 especially back then. So, like, her actually being talented in comedy and stuff is a big deal when you really think about it. And she was discovered at the graduation of this camp by Nickelodeon producers Brian Robbins and Dan Schneider. And then she was brought back to Nickelodeon to be a part of the hit show All That, where she became one of the most popular cast members. And as time got on, she was getting more and more screen time until they decided that she should have her own show on the network when she was 13. So she was a recurring cast member on All That from the age of 7 until 13.
I thought that was crazy young, like being the main star on a show for that long, starting at 7. Like, that's my little niece. Like, I couldn't imagine her being put on the show right now for years, starting out. That's insane.
The amount of time that she was on set was insane because she played so many different characters on All That. She was in every episode. She was basically carrying the show until they decided, well, we might as well go ahead and do the Amanda Show because that's basically what this is. The show ended up debuting in 1999 and it had one of the highest ratings. The show was only on for 3 years, but during these short years, Amanda won the Teen Choice Award for Favorite TV Actress all 3 seasons. And then the show just abruptly ended in 2002 while it was at its peak. Like, millions of viewers tuning in every single episode. It just ended and people were left confused and wondering why.
Well, now we know.
Yeah. But there's I would like to think that we know for reasons that we'll get to. But there's also, like, a lot of different reasons that people have listed. It said that Amanda wanted to go a different route in her career, which ends up happening. People say that she's getting too old, and in a few years, there's no reason to continue because in a short amount of time, she's not going to be, like, gravitating a child audience anymore, which I don't know about that. She is only 16 years old right now. And then some people think it's because of mental health issues. One of her co-stars on All That gave a statement to press. Her name was Chelsea Burnett, and she said that she found Amanda to be cold. This was her exact words. I found her to be cold. I think maybe she felt like, who are these people? This is my legacy. Her persona, it felt like you'd shake her hand and she'd barely touch your fingers. She was closed off to everyone. You'd ask her a question and she'd give you a quick answer just to end the conversation. And then she also goes on in this same interview and gets into the relationship that Amanda had with her dad, saying that her dad was really controlling. Because even though Amanda has worked her way up, she's mainstream now, she has agents and managers and lawyers and stuff, her dad is still trying to play that key role and be like the main voice because she is still a minor, makes sense and stuff. But apparently there was like a negative way that people would talk about him. Like, he wasn't just there to be the dad. He was there to control her career.
Yeah, that's foreshadowing like some stuff that happens later on in like her 20s.
Yeah, it's been there since the beginning, for sure.
Yeah.
But, like we were saying earlier, how some sources say that the Amanda Show ended because she wanted to change her career, she was changing her path, actually does happen because less than a year after the Amanda Show was canceled, she makes her first movie debut in Big Fat Liar, which was written by Dan Snyder, and she continued to work in movies similar to this for the next few years. So even when she leaves Nickelodeon, she's still under Dan Snyder. It's like they're almost like a package deal.
Yeah,
because when she gets her show on the WB, which is obviously a completely different network, completely different staff from Nickelodeon, it's still a Dan Snyder show. And people were saying that they didn't think Dan Snyder's name being on anything really counted for anything if Amanda Bynes wasn't there. So the WB asked for her because of Dan.
That's so weird. Like,
so weird. I've never heard of anything else like this. Like, with different networks tying an actress and a writer together. Like, I could see it. Like, I don't know. I think it's weird, especially with her age.
It's like a codependence that he's having on her, or like vice versa, and it's such a weird vibe, you know?
Yeah, there's definitely a really weird power dynamic, which is like a lot of what Jeanette McCurry famously came out and was basically calling him out about having like really strange power dynamics. He doesn't have boundaries when it comes to set life and off stage or off screen. We're going to get into that a little bit more later, but keeping with the timeline, during the same time that Fat Liar was coming out, Nickelodeon as a whole was going through a really dark time because of Brian Peck, a dialogue coach on the Amanda Show, and his terrible actions. It comes out that Brian Peck was sexually abusing Drake Bell, who was still a minor at this time. And he talks about this in the documentary Quiet on Set. Is that what the documentary was?
Yeah, it is.
On the day of sentencing for Brian, I get to the courthouse. It was the most unbelievable thing I'd ever seen.
I did watch the documentary, and I thought they were going to bring out more episodes than they have, which I think they plan on, but it's been a while since they released the one. So,
yeah, it's been years. Quiet on Set came out in 2024. I thought it was longer than that, but yeah, 2024. And it's on HBO Max if anybody hasn't seen it yet. It was really big when it came out. But yeah, Dan Snyder's never been convicted or none of his accusations about sexual abuse has ever been proved, but there's several Nickelodeon employees, high up employees that have been convicted and even more that have been accused of sexual assault. Drake says in the documentary about how everything was different back then because he was able to hide stuff. Like, it wasn't as big as it would have been if this happened even a few years later than what it did.
It was a different time, so I think it was a little easier to go to and from a courthouse and not worry about Twitter that night or TMZ paparazzis being there.
So he was able to just go on and act like nothing happened, and he was really advised to shut up and not talk about it. And then he was given his biggest opportunity to date, his own show with Josh after the Amanda Show was canceled. But I think the main thing in the story that we're talking about today was mentioning that is it goes to show how unsafe the set of the Amanda Show was, because this did happen while he was working alongside with Amanda Bynes.
I get why he did keep his mouth shut, because you get your own show, but at the same time, like, that's going to have a lot of consequence later on, and then, like, with your mental and...
He did what he needed to do. Like, if I was in that situation, I honestly would have done the same thing at that age, because he did seek legal action and he did get convicted. So then it's like, what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to make this story your whole life and not never work again? Or are you supposed to, you have to pick up and move on still. Like, even though a terrible thing happened to you, at least you got the consequences that you need. So now you can move on with your career. Yeah. But the creepiest part about the whole story with the court and the legal system during this time is Drake said when he walked into the courtroom, Peck's whole side was full of like very familiar faces, people from the network, people that he knew. People were there supporting him.
His entire side of the courtroom was full. Full.
And the only people that were on Drake's side was his mom and his immediate family.
Oh.
It's so disgusting.
That's so scary. But you know, like, thinking about that, like, what if they, like, the people from the network, I mean, I'm not saying this, like, I mean, trying to be devil's advocate, but what if they're, like, forced in a way, like, blackmailed to be on his side?
Yeah, that might be true for some people. That might be true for some people that were there. But the number of people that have allegations and full-blown convictions of sexual assault that work at this company is like, they might just be sitting there like, oh, I wonder if when this happens to me one day, what's going to happen? Like, that's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to the whole Amanda and Dan. This is actually a conspiracy. It's a feeling that a lot of people have, and I think it's validated because there's scenes that Dan wrote of him and Amanda like sitting in a jacuzzi, like all cuddled up on each other. They're very, very, very close. But Amanda never speaks negatively about Dan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know, man.
I'll go ahead and tell y'all what Jeanette Curry said about him in 2022. If y'all didn't hear about this, McCurry, who starred in the hit Nickelodeon show iCarly and then the spinoff Sam Cat, which we all know, released a bombshell memoir, Glad My Mom Died, which I really wanted to read. I never got along to doing it. She was on the New York Times best-selling author list for this for literal months in a row. But she discussed her experiences on the network. She didn't name Snyder specifically, but we all know that he was the creator of these shows, and she calls him the creator. And she says that Snyder pressured her into drinking alcohol underage, and Nickelodeon tried to silence her about this by offering her $300,000 in hush money.
The name of the book really was like caught my eye. I was like, what are you talking about? What's this book about?
I think the alcohol thing is disgusting.
Yeah,
because what were your intentions?
Just even that, like, there's so much proof that I still feel like there should have been something done about it. I mean, was there something done about it?
No, Dan Snyder was never convicted of any crime. So from 2002 to 2010, Amanda's career continues to skyrocket. This is when we talked about how she got the hit role with the WB. This is when it clicks in her mind for the first time that her whole life is being controlled. And she tries to file for emancipation from her parents in 2003 when she's 17. And hearing that seems like an automatic red flag to a regular person, but this actually happens a lot with child stars because they're making so much money. They need to be able to be in charge of their own accounts and make sure that this money is being in their control and not their parents just like using them as cash cows, basically, which is what happens with these super young stars, like when she was 7, and even kids that get into the industry at a younger age. Their parents, their job is to just be there for their kid and take their kid to wherever they want to go. So obviously their child's money's funding their whole entire lifestyle, the lifestyle of their brothers and their sisters and their aunts, their uncles. This money is just like, nobody has to work. This kid just has to keep going out there, putting herself out there, and nobody else has to do anything.
A money machine for them all.
Exactly. It's really sick. And then, like, to side note, kind of getting off track here, but it's like the same thing that's happening with these child influencers, basically, like these little babies that people are making money off of today. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I was just about to, when you were saying that, there's this particular family that my sister loved to watch that is in my mind, and they've had like these little scandals going on recently the past couple of years, and they still continue to put these kids on
So you might as well say who it is if they're that huge.
The LeBron family.
LeBron? Are they the blonde-headed ones with like the...
Yeah,
I really like the oldest daughter, and I feel so sorry for her because I've seen like weirdo compilations of her just being so exploited and stuff, and like the toll it's had on her. Even people that post just like clean, quote unquote clean content, just like family stuff. I don't see how anybody can do that at this age and time with what we know. And like the saves, I saw this like months ago before anything even came out with it, years ago, before anything even came out with the Epstein files and stuff. But if you look at like viral videos of babies and look at the amount of saves, it's disgusting. And those people can go back and see who is saving your videos. And moms that are woke to this go back and see that it's all weirdo men saving these videos.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
Stop posting your child. If you have any type of following, maybe even if you don't, I don't know, I'm not a mother. But like, come on. Be aware of what's going on in the content that you're posting too, because the stuff about the eating, that's all I'm going to say because it's freaking sick. Have you heard about this?
No, I don't think so.
Basically, like, there's this one little girl that's like the most famous like model type of like fashion stuff is mainly what she went famous for. But her mom would do like what my toddler eats in a day. And it's literal millions of people, men, saving these videos to watch the baby eat.
Ew.
And people were starting to say that she was choosing specific foods for her to eat.
That's disgusting. Why would you do that to your child? That's your own child. You want to protect your children. Like, I get, like, posting on Facebook and stuff like that, being proud of your kids and stuff, but to go this far is, like, trying to, like, subtly sexualize your child like that is disgusting.
Exactly. But anyways, so in 2002, Amanda starts the legal path that she has to take to become emancipated from her parents. But a year later, before any of this could come to fruition, her father mysteriously fires everyone that worked for her. Her lawyers, her agent, her actual manager, everybody's fired. And people close to Amanda claim that this happened because he found out about the moves that they were making towards the emancipation, and he got furious and fired all of them. And she was never emancipated. She never got control of her money. But Amanda keeps working like she's always done, like she's always known. She goes on an iconic run of movies. And like any normal person would, you start to see in interviews that she's cracking. She seems different. I'm going to put in this clip from She's the Man.
Now, between takes or when you're at lunch and things, did you kind of keep it up as a guy when you're dressed up?
I was so tired, I think, of doing the voice that, like, I wouldn't do it at that point. Even when I was off, like, dressing, even when I was a guy, I mean, even though it was uncomfortable, I still had fun, and I wish I was a girl the whole time because then it was me, but that's what makes this movie different, I think.
You see that she's, like, not having fun anymore. Like, she went from this really bubbly girl on Nickelodeon to, like, she's, like, borderline complaining about what it was. Because have you seen this movie?
Yeah, I have, but I don't remember it.
It was with Channing Tatum, and half the time her character is dressed up as a boy. And apparently that had a really negative effect on her mental health, which I think is foreshadowing how fragile her mental health is, because this was just like a silly, goofy little role, like what she was used to playing. But she said that she hated the way that she looked in the movie, and she hated playing a boy. And she was just very unhappy with the way that movie turned out. And this was the first time in this 2006 movie that I see her really start to crack.
She's always got this thing with appearance, though, but I guess she started giving up.
Her career comes to a point when she gets a role in Hairspray, which is the most critically acclaimed movie that she's got this far. Star-studded cast. She was very excited about this. And the end of Amanda's career seemed to be nowhere in sight.
She thought.
So we thought. The last time Amanda was seen on the screen was in 2008 when she did one singular episode of Family Guy, and later rumors of a little dating scandal started with the creator Seth Farland. So people that have deep dived into Amanda's life take this time in 2008 and really try to go in and see what was going on, like pick her brain, if you will. And what I found to be really interesting about this is because there's been a lot of just bashing of Seth Farland, specifically by Alexa Nicholas, which was also a Nickelodeon star. She was in Zoe 101, and she calls out Seth Farland a few times on Twitter. So in one tweet, Nicholas claims that she was hired to do an episode of Family Guy just so McFarlane could abuse her. And then in another tweet, she just simply points out the fact that Seth hired very many Disney and Nickelodeon stars just to come in for one episode and then calls him a creep. This is something that Amanda pointed out with a reporter that we'll talk about later in the episode, that all these shows that you see young girls going on, she calls it a high turnover of the cast. It's like on all that, there would be guest stars coming on every week, and then they would vanish. You never see them again. This is because it makes it easier for creepy dudes to get what they want from these girls, even if they aren't minors. Just like in general, women in general. Obviously, minors is like the main heartbreaking thing here, but they bring people on, like on these shows, even on Family Guy and all that, and then they never have to worry about seeing them again, because that's all they were there for. Alexa Nicholas has been a huge advocate for exposing Nickelodeon for years. In 2022, she even had a protest gather outside of the Nickelodeon Animation Studio in Burbank. And this is where she publicly made allegations against iCarly series creator Dan Snyder.
What year did she do that?
In 2022. I feel like she's a big reason why the documentary was made. It's like her advocacy. Because she started an organization called Eat Predators, which advocates for survivors of sexual abuse. And she's just really been a big part of exposing this industry and this corporation in general.
I love that. That's good.
Yeah.
Someone made to do it.
This episode could be so long, specifically just based off of her. But the main thing that she says over and over and over again is just that they weren't safe. And that brings us to 2010. Amanda does her last movie, which was Easy A, starring Emma Stone. And then as soon as the movie comes out, she drops her very first shocking tweet in her career, definitely not the last. Being an actress isn't as fun as it seems. I don't love it anymore, and I don't do things that I don't love. So I'm not acting anymore. So she just quits acting with this one tweet.
She doesn't make a reappearance on headlines until 2012, when she's 26 years old. She goes on, you might have to fact check me, it's one of the Jimmy shows.
You haven't been to jail?
No.
No jail?
Not yet.
Rehab?
No.
No rehab. Amanda Bynes, what kind of a starlet are you?
I know. What's wrong with me? I don't know. It's shocking how it's become popular to go to rehab.
Well, later on in 2012, in April, things change. She gets arrested for a DUI for sideswiping a police car. But people also started to notice that her appearance was changing, and obviously she was acting different, i.e. the DUI and all that. A paparazzi was trying to take her picture, and she starts getting aggressive.
Let go of the camera. Excuse me. Let go of my camera. Please let go of my camera. All right. Can you let go of my camera? Amanda, stop. All right. I'm done. Ow! Ow! Yo, what the hell? Yo, let me go. What the hell's wrong with you? Stop that. You dug your nails into my neck, lady. Dude, are you insane with that? Dude, look at my arm.
I didn't touch you. Because she did not like the fact of him taking a bad picture of her, quote unquote, that she didn't look good then. And he was kind of like, obviously, paparazzi, they're going to keep going for you until they get a good picture. He was asking for one good picture of just her face because she kept hiding it. And she wouldn't give it to him. And he got one, I guess, kind of good. And she literally started pinching him and scratching him, stabbing it. Later of 2012, she wanders naked into a tanning salon in November of 2012. After she does all this, Lindsay Lohan, which is a person that she's gotten started getting compared to at this point with the DUI, the arrest. Lindsay Lohan tweets, "Why did I get put in jail and a Nickelodeon star has no punishments so far?" And no one ever said anything back. Not that I know of. No.
She didn't get arrested for her DUI?
Not long. No, I don't think so.
I mean, that's what normally happens. So,
yeah, well,
like, you don't stay in jail for a DUI. I'm pretty sure whatever Lindsay Lohan did just happened to be worse than what Amanda Bynes did.
You're supposed to get arrested for walking around naked too, and she didn't. Because it's indecent exposure. And then, like, harassing the paparazzi, being caught on camera, that should have been a charge. But, I mean, that's up to the paparazzi, man, if he did charges. But, yeah, so I guess she was kind of like, because at that time, too, in a lot of the tabloids, they were comparing her to acting crazy to Lindsay Lohan. So then that's when she was like, well, I got arrested for all these, and she's not doing shit. Like,
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, moving on to 2013, Amanda starts getting Twitter crazy. So there's several tweets that she has this year of celebrities just basically calling everyone. Her go-to diss to everyone is "You're ugly. You're ugly. Bitch, you're ugly." One of them was like, at Rihanna, Chris Brown, "Bitch, you're not pretty enough." Along with Rihanna, there was Courtney Love. She called out Jay-Z. She literally just sent out a picture of Jay-Z, that meme of him, and said "ugly face."
See, this you can't really defend her for, but it's all, this is her cracking, you know? It seems like all the celebrities that were listed, Lindsay Lohan, Britney Spears, they all have their breaking point, and this was hers. She just decided to drag everybody down with her, I guess.
She called the Obamas ugly, Michelle and Barack.
That's insane.
Listen to this one. She said that her dad looks just like RuPaul and is glad that she doesn't have his genes. "My dad is ugly as RuPaul, so thankful I look nothing like you both. I had no surgery after my mug shots, so my nose and eye are gorgeous." And RuPaul claps back saying, "Derogatory slurs are always an outward projection of someone's own poisonous self-loathing. Period."
Period. She's not just being a bitch. She needs help.
Yeah, and that's what Courtney Love was like, "Pull it together, dude."
That would be
And and then she claps back, Amanda, saying, "Courtney Love is the ugliest woman I've ever seen. To be mentioned by her at all makes me and all my friends laugh." What a child. So, last episode we talked about the movie Geek Charming.
Yeah.
The two main stars of Geek Charming, Sarah Hyland and Matt Prokop. Don't come for me if I'm not saying your name right, okay? He basically tweeted to her telling her to stop getting work done because she did get a nose surgery. She got I don't think she had got it done at this point, but later on she'll get another
he
surgery.
just randomly tweeted about her first?
Yes, because at this point she was just like tweeting about everyone, and everyone was like, "God, like this is crazy." And some people were just like at her and talk about her to get clout, because then their name would get brought up. So, but he tweeted this. Matt Prof also came out that he was abusive to Sarah Holland. Didn't know this. We hyped that movie up so much, not knowing that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he tweeted her saying, "Stop getting work done." She replied, "Your girlfriend has an ugly face like you." And he responded, "Speaking of the devil," she finally says something. "My girl is more successful than you ever will be. Enjoy the long road downhill. Disgusting. Bleep." It's sad Amanda Bynes was a child actress whose kids looked up to. Now she's just a lost soul in a plastic face. Hashtag get help.
I don't understand the whole hating on the work done thing. She doesn't look like I don't think that her appearance change had anything to do with the work that she had done. When I look at her, I just see where she's neglecting herself, if anything.
I mean, yeah, particularly I don't like the dermals she had, but like that's just a personal opinion.
Yeah, the part of the story that you're covering right now, the part that I'm the most curious about is why she started wearing all these wigs.
They basically just said that she didn't want to look like the beauty standard from all the shows she was on before, and like her mental was just going crazy. And in court, she shows up with a blue wig, and then she also goes on to talking about Miley Cyrus and how she is, because this is when Miley Cyrus is in her bangers era. But she's really basically talking shit about Miley Cyrus at this point because she hooked up with Liam Hemsworth, Miley's fiance at that point, in 2009. Her and Liam was a thing in 2009. They hooked up.
Yeah, I feel like the whole thing that she's going through right now, or what she's gonna get into with the wigs and her like just looking crazy, is her version of like Miley's bangers, or like actresses and actors getting into more like scandalous roles, like more provocative stuff after Nickelodeon and Disney. But she is just so mentally not in the right place that she's doing it like this.
Combining Lindsay Lohan and Britney Spears, and you'll see why I'm saying Britney Spears. In May 2013, she claims she's allergic to alcohol and doesn't smoke. After the DUI charge is still pending, girl. What do you mean? What do you mean? The next month, she does actually work on an album with Waka Flocka called Shots. Never got released. Tried to look it up. It was supposed to get released in 2013, and it didn't. Nothing about it. Not even the lyrics that I could find. But Waka Flocka was just like saying that he saw a part of him and her at that time, and how she just really needed someone to confide in, and that's why he wanted to do an album with her. But then it didn't happen. And then the next month, July 22nd. This is when, like, people knew her mental was bad, but then this happened and people were like, okay. Because July 22nd, 2013, she lit a fire in front of a stranger's home. And she got put into a mental evaluation. And this is also when the start of her conservatism started. Her parents have a conservatorship over her. And this is what leads to what I'm saying about Britney.
Mm-hmm.
And during this time, like, obviously, she didn't get along with her dad. She had an okay experience with her mom at this point, but then when the conservatorship started, she said that her relationship with both of her parents was destroyed.
Yeah, because it ended up the opposite of what she wanted to happen before she turned 18. Like, she wanted complete control over her money before she started to have the downfall. And now, when she's out of her, like, she's an adult now, and the complete opposite of what she ever wanted to happen, which was freedom from her parents, the complete opposite ended up happening. But, I mean, I think the idea of conservatorship is just freaking crazy anyways. But I do see, like, circumstances where it needs to be a thing. And maybe this is one of them, but, like, I don't know. I just wish it didn't have to get to this point for her. Hey, guys. It's Editing Audrey here. I'm just hopping on to close out this video because we decided to make it a 2-part episode. There's so much information that goes into this. So many rabbit holes have been opened. Did we just become a twice-a-week channel? This is going to be our second week in a row making a 2-part episode. If y'all didn't see last week's 2-part series, make sure to go back and watch it. On weeks like this where we upload 2 times, the second part will always be up by Saturday. So y'all make sure to be on the lookout for that. We love you guys, and we'll see you on Saturday.